he is. That's what makes him so hard to beat, because you should just try and be a machine tonight.
It was fiercer, crazier, and more intensified than the press conference they had in April, before their fight was postponed. It's a battle of the undefeated, a battle of the Soviet king, and the greatest contest for the throne of the ultimate dictator of the light heavyweight division.
Like you say, I'm collecting belts and I need one more.
Many boxing fans and professionals have predicted the winner of the fight as a future Hall of Famer. Dmitry Bivol and Artur Beterbiev carried no iota of their shared nationality when they met in a press conference ahead of their coming fight in October. As expected, there were little words thrown around between the fighters. The atmosphere was mostly silent and intense as the pair muttered a few sentences and promised to do their talking in the ring.
Everybody, and of course to His Excellency Turk Sheikh and Riyadh.
The exchange of words between the pair was straight and direct. "I talk with my fights. That's where we do business," Artur Beterbiev said. And when it was time for Bivol's retort, Dmitry Bivol responded, "I've got nothing to say to him. He knows what he's ready for. I know it too. It's gonna be bloody." But for Dmitry Bivol's promoter, Eddie Hearn, and Beterbiev's promoter as well, the press conference would have lacked much activity. But guess what?
All of belts.
When you look across down the table at Artur Beterbiev,
it's exactly what the fans want to see. When it was time for their face-off, the two fighters walked boldly to the stage and stared down at each other. Their stare down carried with it two undefeated records, an undisputed world title at hand, a nation of dominance, and two fighters with the needed skill, IQ, and boxing experience.
These thoughts helped me to be in focus, to be serious in my training camp.
Dmitry Bivol is the more active fighter, and it's clear he's hardly taken a break since facing Artur Beterbiev. He's well ready for the fight and can't wait for his next big opportunity after Canelo Alvarez.
And of course he's one of the dangerous opponents, even if we see on his records.
His win over Canelo announced him to the world, but this will even cement his name in the history books forever. It can only get more intense from here, as if a 20-0 start with 20 knockouts and 3 light heavyweight belts isn't enough of a feat. Artur Beterbiev in the last presser apparently set out to record a world record for fewest words spoken at a press conference by a major boxing headliner.
do you have a message for Dmitry Bivol now that he's here?
He knows already.
The beautiful part of the news conference in London to formally introduce the participants in the supposed battle in Saudi Arabia for the undisputed 175-pound title was that Beterbiev actually struck the defining chord of the event. Words are not needed. The 39-year-old Beterbiev stood as the most devastating and diabolical combatant in the sport's heavier weights, relying on a nasty disposition and bullying spirit to systematically break down his foes. With former world champions Callum Smith, Joe Smith Jr., and Alexander Gvozdyk,
Dmitry, Artur Beterbiev says that you know already.
Claimed in the wreckage. That said, Beterbiev now encounters a Russian countryman who may embody his kryptonite. World Boxing Association champion Dmitry Bivol is the 2022 Boxing Writers Association of America Fighter of the Year, a crown secured via a convincing victory that stripped the title of pound-for-pound king from Mexico's Canelo Alvarez.
What is it that you know?
I don't know already.
Boxing is more about class, IQ, style, and skills. Bivol manager Vadim Kornilov said in defending his fighter's pedigree on stage. Bivol's sophisticated style belies his own strength. And, frankly, if Alvarez were any other light heavyweight, he might well have been dropped by the sustained barrage of blows that Bivol planted upon him in that May 2022 bout.
We know.
Although the official scorecards on the night read 115, 113 in the Russians' favor, few thought the contest was that close, and many assumed the cards were warped by the preconceived notion of who was supposed to win the Cinco de Mayo weekend bout in Las Vegas. The press conference MC described Bivol Beterbiev as a match pitting the best pure boxer in the world versus the most destructive puncher in the world. And Bivol promoter Eddie Hearn argued that what his fighter brings to the fight makes it one of the purest matches in the sport, the best fight in boxing.
as Vadim says, his boxing IQ is on another level, and it needs to be against, as Todd said, one of the most dangerous men in the sport of boxing.
Hyperbole on a news conference stage is often an exercise in eye-rolling, but this one feels authentic. Beyond the consequences of who can stand as undisputed champion is the matter of who awaits. Canelo, David Benavidez, a rematch? But what matters most is who will win and how. Beterbiev's promoter, top-ranked president Todd Duboev, kept his point simple regarding why his guy will win. "I've been a fan of destruction, and this guy's all about destruction," Duboev said. "My friends call me during his fights and ask, 'Who is this monster?' Look at his body of work. Nobody lasts 12 rounds with him." Despite the importance of Monday's event to selling global pay-per-view buys, the bout will be streamed in the US by ESPN pay-per-view. Beterbiev kept his talking to a minimum.
He actually got the credit that he deserved, and he did that with consummate ease. And as tough as this fight is, don't be amazed to see him make this look easy.
When asked what he thought about seeing Bivol sitting to his left on the stage with the WBA belt placed in front of him, Beterbiev said, "I see another belt. I'm collecting all the belts and I need one more." As for the matter of why it took so long for the former Russian amateurs to meet, Beterbiev elicited a sly grin and said, "Ask him," motioning to Bivol. Bivol responded that it seemed to him that Beterbiev only wanted to work on fights promoted by Top Rank. Both fighters thanked Saudi Arabia's His Excellency Turki Al-Sheikh for financially backing the effort to make the bout after several failures in the past to make it happen. "There was no person who could make the fight, and now we have His Excellency, who loves boxing and made it happen," Bivol said.
To stand that man on his head whilst he's trying to hunt him down, but whilst he's doing it.
Asked if he had a message to deliver Bivol before the bout, Beterbiev again remained elusive. "He knows already," Beterbiev said. That aroused commentators on the news conference stream to wonder if Beterbiev had ever gotten the better of Bivol when they worked together for Russia as senior and junior amateurs. Had Beterbiev once beat up or knocked down Bivol in those sessions? The commentators wondered. Kornilov told Boxing Scene afterward the pair only participated in training, working together. If Beterbiev is banking on that prior version of Bivol being the same man that he'll now meet as a 33-year-old professional, he's made a serious miscalculation.
Very, very dangerous. And I believe on June the 1st, Dmitry Bivol will be the undisputed light heavyweight champion of the world.
Dimitri's boxing is on a different level, and it needs to be against this wrecking machine, Hearn said. But Bivol hasn't been given the credit he deserves. He beat Canelo with consummate ease. He has all the ability to stand this man on his head. Footwork, ring IQ, composure. We have someone who's very special. Hearn said Kornilov has been telling him for 6 years that we need Beterbiev. Assessing the winner will be the champion of the sport, Bivol said in devoting his life to the sport since age 5. "My goal was to be the undisputed champion. Canelo was my ticket to the big fights."
Obviously, you were talking about Callum Smith. He's going to knock him out with a left hook. Heard you about Callum Johnson in the past as well.
Asked about the grave threat of Beterbiev, Bivol said, "Every time I train, I think my opponent is the most dangerous opponent I've ever met in the ring. Of course he's dangerous. Look at his record. But I love challenges. I love to be tested. And this is a huge challenge. I believe in my skills, my experience, my mentality, and in my preparation in camp. I will be undisputed." Afterward, Hearn gave voice to the impression Beterbiev left by minimizing his words and treating his younger countryman as an apprentice, not capable of defeating the master.
What is it that is so different about Dmitry Bivol that makes you think he's going to stop this man?
"I think Beterbiev is arrogant," Hearn said. "We're here to talk about the fight." Not doing so, perhaps, was Beterbiev's message that he's used to having things play out his way. But at age 39, against the peaking champion who wants to declare it's his time now, is Beterbiev about to become the latest self-anointed king to find out Bivol wants his crown too? "I told Dmitry at the face-off, take him to school," Hearn said. "Bivol's special. It's going to be a hard fight. It should be when you're fighting for the undisputed championship. But Dmitry does his talking in the ring. He's extra special." The Russian light heavyweight champions were respectful, although you could sense an edge in the air between the longtime rivals who meet in one of the best fights that can be made in the sport. The fight, which many fans consider the best in boxing, has been eagerly anticipated for several years, though few truly believed it would ever come to fruition. The pair have been on this collision course to face each other for years, but now they're set to meet in a huge fight. Going into the match, Beterbiev holds the World Boxing Council, International Boxing Federation and World Boxing Organization titles at 175 pounds, beating the likes of Brit stars Anthony Yarde and Callum Smith on the way. Bivol is the WAD Boxing Association title holder and is best known for handing Canelo Alvarez the second loss of his career 2 years ago. The card is also set to feature a huge 5-on-5 bill of fights between the two biggest promoters in the UK. Expectedly, after the face-off in London and with the match now completely set, boxing professionals were quick to react to the matchup. And beyond mere reactions, they gave their picks and predictions as well.
Look at this, by the way, before we go, look at this. I can't.
Roy Jones Jr. had a very straight comment to give. He said, no, not 50-50ths. 1. Beterbiev is 38 years old. Beterbiev has been down. Bivol hasn't been down. Beterbiev got everything to show me to bring back the 50-50ths. Bivol has the advantage now, and it's 60-40ths. It's a great fight. If it's 50-50ths, it's because of his puncher power. Maybe he may land.
No. Not 50-50. 1, Beterbiev is 38 years old. Beterbiev has been down.
Yes, yeah.
Bivol never been down.
Canelo Alvarez, whose second defeat in over 60 matches came from Dmitry Bivol, was one of the very first to make his prediction. Canelo Alvarez has a match scheduled for May 4th, however. He has experienced more distractions ahead of his bout from someone else other than his next opponent. While his match with David Benavidez has been anticipated for years, Canelo Alvarez, amidst the chaos, seems to have called it off after several issues regarding a rehydration clause didn't sit so well with him. Now, taking a moment off that controversy, Canelo Alvarez gave his bold prediction ahead of the fight between Artur Beterbiev and Dmitry Bivol. When asked about his prediction, he wasn't hesitant to predict the winner and name his pick. For someone like Canelo Alvarez, who was a direct victim of Dmitry Bivol, while only suffering 2 defeats during his career, his first defeat from Floyd Mayweather Jr. and his second from Dmitry Bivol, it wasn't so difficult to rate Bivol more highly than Beterbiev.
Beterbiev and Benavidez, who do you think is the biggest challenge for you?
Oh, Beterbiev.
Beterbiev?
Yeah,
Why is that?
of course. Because he's a champion.
Responding, he said, Bivol is the better fighter, and he'll win. Beterbiev is good as well, but I'm sure Bivol will win. I pick him. Canelo Alvarez's prediction came after he had earlier appreciated and shown more preference for the second person to give him a defeat throughout his impressive career. It was like he hadn't changed his mind over the years and had almost the same words to say about Dmitry Bivol. Once Canelo, caught up in high praises of Bivol, was unhesitant to reveal how he was better than other fighters in the division, including Dmitry Beterbiev.
He has something to offer me. He's strong. He's another way. He's a lot of things. Heading into the fight week of the Canelo Alvarez versus Dmitry Bivol fight, people were quite dismissive of Bivol. Looking at how the 31-year-old fights and his resume up to this point, it's nothing to sneeze at. Bivol went 268, 15 as an amateur, won 2 world championships, and won a bronze medal at the 2008 AIBA Youth World Boxing Championships. Since turning professional, Bivol was 19, 0 with 11 knockouts, and has defended his WBA belt 6 consecutive times. Yet according to BetMGM, those statistics were thrown out the window as Bivol was a significant underdog to retain his title. However, Alvarez didn't believe in what the odds makers and the majority of the public were about Bivol, in that he's nothing more than a speed bump on the road to immortality. With a deadly severe stare and tone, like one who had foreseen the second defeat of his career in the hands of this underdog, Alvarez said he believed Bivol was the best light heavyweight in boxing, not unified titleist Artur Beterbiev. I think he's a better boxer. He has more skills than Beterbiev, Alvarez said. Beterbiev a really good fighter, strong, always go forward. But I think Bivol is a really good fighter with a lot of experience. Alvarez made the jaunt up to 175 pounds for the second time. Previously, Alvarez scored an 11th round knockout win over Sergey Kovalev in November 2019 to capture the WBO strap. Bivol, however, proved he wasn't Kovalev though. Bivol does not have the power of Kovalev or the feats,
but he's got a couple of things that separates them.
Because they look at his record.
They say the same thing with Dmitry Bivol, and look, he's a good fighter.
Bivol is a southpaw with an excellent jab, is a great defensive fighter, is more patient, and has a more substantial amateur pedigree. On paper, going into the match, he was one of Alvarez's most demanding tests to date overall and his most significant threat since the two Golovkin fights in 2017 and 2018. While not many understand how good Bivol is, Alvarez did understand and knew this journey to light heavyweight will be more challenging than the first time around over 2.5 years ago. The fighter Bivol is different, Alvarez told Dazin. The fighter Bivol brings more challenges for me. With Kovalev, I feel different. I became heavy, stronger, but with Dmitry Bivol, it is going to be more difficult because he's strong, young. He's a really good fighter. It must be delightful for Bivol to know he's highly admired by the man who's achieved legendary status, even while his career is still very much alive. Famous British promoter Eddie Hearn and chairman of Matchroom Sport and Professional Darts Corporation also revealed his predictions ahead of the bout that'll hold in Saudi Arabia on June 1st. It must be recalled that Eddie Hearn's promotional team are the ones promoting Dmitry Bivol, being one of their signatures. Though Eddie Hearn was hardly involved in a boxing match of his own, as he was never a professional boxer, his analysis of the sport are quite satisfactory, owing to his years of experience dealing with several boxers and being heavily involved in their activities. And for the upcoming match between the two Russians, Hearn said, Bivol, I pick Bivol. Take nothing from Beterbiev. He's a great fighter, but Bivol wins on the day. Interestingly, Eddie Hearn had initially made his pick many months ago, even before the official announcement of the bout. Before the fight between Beterbiev and Smith, Eddie Hearn spoke to Boxing News, where he discussed negotiations for Beterbiev versus Bivol. When we did the deal in Saudi Arabia with His Excellency, the plan was for Dmitry Bivol to fight for the undisputed fight. A fight that they like is Beterbiev against Bivol. He added, from our point of view with Bivol, he's already signed to fight Artur Beterbiev. Immediately following the fight, the Montreal resident confirmed he wanted the Bivol fight, and Bob Arum said the fight would happen approximately 3 months after Ramadan, meaning it wouldn't come until June or July, which is the earliest we could see this monster fight. When he was asked to make his pick back then, he said, in his interview with Boxing Social, Hearn discussed Beterbiev versus Bivol. I do believe Dmitry beats him, but it's a real 50-50 fight.
This guy is so good. For so many times, for so long, people have been telling me this guy is the real deal, and he's just been looking for the opportunities.
He continued, Bivol's movement is outstanding, and I think Beterbiev will really struggle with that. But you have to have the power to hurt him, Beterbiev. And if you don't, your movement has got to be so good and so precise. Hearn also said, Beterbiev's power is freakish. Following the comment on his power, he mentioned that Callum Smith spent too much time on the ropes and followed that by saying, Bivol won't be there. His feet are very, very good. It's a brilliant fight, one of the best fights in boxing, and hopefully we can get it over the line.
Obviously, the victory against Canelo Alvarez, incredible, pound for pound #1. But that victory tonight, I hardly had him losing a round, in all honesty. I mean, I think sometimes these judges...
And just some hours ago, after the match was eventually fixed, and after the face-off, Eddie Hearn commented on the official announcement of the fight between Artur Beterbiev and Dmitry Bivol. We have organized, as far as I'm concerned, the best fight in boxing. The odds are 50-50. It's an incredible moment for the sport. Two incredible fighters and champions. Artur Beterbiev has beaten Anthony Yard, Callum Jones, and Callum Smith. Bivol has beaten Craig Richards.
20 years old, 28 years I'm in boxing. I'm in boxing since I remember myself.
Russian boxer Dmitry Bivol defended his World Boxing Association title against Malik Zinad with a TKO in the 6th round, extending his undefeated record to 23 fights and confirming himself as one of the best in the light heavyweight division in an event held in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia at the Kingdom Arena. Bivol dominated the fight, with Zinad barely keeping up with the Russian. From the opening bell, Bivol appeared confident and determined, with an imposing presence in the ring, even knocking down the Libyan before the end of the first round.
I love the sport and I think it will.
The fight that had everyone on the edge of their seats was supposed to be Bivol versus Artur Beterbiev. However, a twist of fate in the form of a knee injury to Beterbiev led to the bout being cancelled. This unexpected turn of events necessitated a substitute to keep Bivol in rhythm. Enter Malik Zinad, a fighter who, while not entirely prepared or up to Bivol's level, was chosen to step into the ring with the Russian.
Could help me, my experience and my mentality.
With Bivol's victory, a new chapter in the light heavyweight division has begun. The fight for the undisputed light heavyweight championship against Beterbiev, originally scheduled for the same event, has now been confirmed to take place on October 12th, and that's all for now. For the very best updates on news, moments, events, and actions in the world of boxing, stay connected with us by subscribing to our YouTube channel. And don't forget to turn on notifications to get notified when we drop quality contents like this. Until next time, peace out.